Hi, I'm Paul. For this video, I'm going to try and take a look into anxiety. So, what is anxiety? Uh, I suppose we could call anxiety conflict. Seems kind of obvious to say that. So, what I mean by conflict is being one and perhaps acting or telling another. Uh, mm, let's look at it like this. If I'm with somebody, let's say, sort of important to us, a parent or a boss, and they ask me a question, and then I lie, see, this would be conflict. So I know the truth, and I told a lie. And this conflict itself creates anxiety. So it's not so much the lie that caused the anxiety, or knowing the truth, but the division between the two. So in other words, we could say anxiety itself is division, conflict. So then how do we refer this to ourselves rather than the idea of lying to somebody else? Let's just say we have doubts about ourselves, we dislike ourselves, we think we're not good enough, we think we are boring or whatever else. But we have this story in the world that we've got to be something, we've got to be liked, we've got to succeed. So having this idea of all these negatives inside of us causes a conflict of what we should be, what we want to be. So if we look at maybe social anxiety, and perhaps you're at home, you're comfortable, hoovering up, washing clothes, and then somebody phones up and says, "Are you coming out tonight?" And then all of a sudden you get anxiety because you know that you've got to make an effort. And when I say make an effort, when you go out, you've got to perhaps apply more energy into your behavior. Try to be less boring. Try to be more interesting. You see, this trying to be somebody is causing the conflicts. Trying to be is not being. So, in a sense, we could say the cure for anxiety is completely accepting yourself as you are and just being, not trying to be. A lot of the time when I speak to people who do suffer with anxiety, when I try to understand what's going on, a lot of them describe problems about themselves. But when we dig deep down into it, we see that the suffering is not from the problem, but uh, mm, more the idea of I shouldn't be that. So it's having this ideal self, the idea of I would like to be or I should be. Should's a horrible word. You should be better, you should be more. Saying things like, well, most people do this. This is normal. You're doing something different. I think a lot of the time this conflict that we have is caused by this story of what we should be. But anyway, it seems that the anxiety itself, the suffering, is not caused from the doubt of the self, but the conflicts of not wanting to be that. Anyway, I think that's all I've got to say about that. So thanks very much for listening.